Hello, I'm Sarah Grady Ackerman. The Red Umbrella is a highly acclaimed novel for young people that is a story of the American spirit, overcoming the pain of losing one's homeland. Christina Gonzalez joins me to talk about her novel, the 2010 Florida Book Awards Gold Medal winner for young adult literature. Thanks so much for joining us, Christina.
Thank you, Sarah.
And The Red Umbrella, this has to be so exciting. I've seen that you've gotten so many rave reviews from several publications, and now this gold medal. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm thrilled, excited. It's been such a wonderful journey. It's my debut novel, and
Wow.
just everything that's been associated with it has just been overwhelming and just a dream come true.
Well, tell us about the Red Umbrella. It's getting so much attention. So give us an overview of your book.
Well, The Red Umbrella is historical fiction. It's a story of a young 14-year-old Cuban girl who lives in Cuba. It's 2 years after the Cuban Revolution, but she's a typical teen.
Yeah.
She still sees life like any teenage girl would, with just looking at the cute boy and making plans with her best friend. And it's not until certain things start happening around her that she starts seeing people disappear, freedoms being lost, and her own family is now being watched, that I say she realizes the dark side of the revolution. And by that time, her parents have made the decision of sending her and her little brother to the U.S. by themselves. And that is actually based on the actual events of Operation Pedro Pan, which was where 14,000 children in a 2-year period were sent to the U.S. by themselves. And so she finds herself by herself in Miami, and she's sent to one of the camps, like about 7,000 of those kids were. And from there, those children are placed in homes throughout the U.S. And in the case of the story of Lucia, she's sent to a foster family in Nebraska. And so she's
Culture shock.
Big culture shock. She still has to deal with what teenage girls, have always had to deal with the mean girl, with, finding your place in school, with just growing up. But this time there's that overarching anxiety of not knowing if she'll ever go back home, if she'll see her parents again, what's going to happen to her family, and to her country. And so that's the journey the book takes you on. It's not only her journey, but it's also a microcosm of the journey of so many real kids during the time.
Absolutely, and not to mention as you have mentioned, the historical perspective of everything. Considering your Cuban heritage, what does it mean to you to have this book finished and being so welcomed and honored?
It's just it's such a deep honor, and really it's a privilege to be able to share this story of so many people. It was 14,000 kids coming to the U.S. It's a huge part of American history, not just Cuban history, but it's American history, because the American people welcomed these children and were taking them in. And it was when I started realizing my own children were growing up and they weren't really aware of what, in this case, my parents had gone through. My parents were 2 of those kids, and there wasn't really anything written telling that story. And so the fact that I was the one who was able to bring that story out, that it's received such attention and now such a great honor, it's just a big privilege for me.
And you really bring it to life, because you start each of the chapters with a news clipping.
Yes.
An actual news clipping.
There is a headline on each chapter, and it actually correlates to the date in the book. So if it's June 5th in the story, there's a headline from June 5th.
Wow.
And all the headlines are real, so I had to do plenty of research for that. And it just gives the reader a perspective of what was really happening as you read along this fictional story.
And what you said, you had to do a lot of research. I'm sure that you learned a lot. What do you hope that your readers, your young readers, what do you hope that they take away from this?
Well, what I learned was, it was basically, again, part of my family history. But I always tell young readers that it's those stories that you hear at Thanksgiving. And it may be an immigrant story, it might be someone who fought valiantly in a war, or it could be grandmother who won blue ribbon for best apple pie. It's those stories we roll our eyes at Thanksgiving that our grandparents and parents always tell us. But if we don't look back and do something to preserve those stories are unique to us, we'll lose them, and we'll lose them forever. So I tell them to look back at their own families, look at those stories that make your family special, and try to delve into those stories, because there's a story for every single person.
Well put. I like that. Well, The Red Umbrella by Christina Gonzalez. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
For joining us, and congratulations again on your gold medal.
Thank you.
Production of this program is made possible in part by a grant from the Florida Humanities Council. Additional support comes from the Florida State University Libraries.